I'm David Armstrong. I'm the Group Chief Executive of Wasps, and that covers not only our playing activity as Wasps the Rugby Club, but also all of our other business streams at the Ricoh Arena, which includes our conference and exhibition business, our hotel, our casino, and all our other income streams. So my day-to-day role is pretty broad. It covers rugby activities, non-rugby activities. We're a site that operates 364 days a year, so it's a very varied role.
Clearly on the field in recent weeks, and at the start of the season, Wasps doing very well. Off the field, going very well as well.
Yes, no, we're very pleased in both fronts, particularly our performance obviously in the European Champions Cup has been got off to a great start. But off the field, we're seeing continued growth in our various different business streams. We've recently converted our hotel to being a DoubleTree by Hilton. Previously it was a De Vere hotel. We've been through a 3-month conversion process over the summer, which has seen our hotel and our restaurants upgraded substantially as a result. Off the field as well, our conference and exhibition business is growing very strongly. The casino is performing well, and a lot of it is all going in the right direction. So we're very pleased.
And obviously, the move to the Ricoh is the big, well, not news, but the big move for Wasps. What sort of indicators do you look at in terms of measuring your success since you've moved there? Obviously, making a loss before to now a good business model, but what are the sort of key performance indicators that you look at?
Well, we have different KPIs across different parts of the business. So in terms of things like conference and exhibition, it's all about the percentage occupancy of our exhibition space, and we measure our pipeline very closely. So how far ahead have we booked our holes out and that sort of thing. So pipeline is very, very important. On the playing side of things, clearly we're obviously looking at our own playing performance, but attendances, spend per head by people attending games is very important to us. Our labour margin, our gross profit margin, things like that we measure throughout the day during a match day. We have the ability to watch that at all times, so we're adjusting and changing what we do. We change pricing through the stadium dynamically during the day so that we can maximise revenue that way. So that's on the rugby side. On the hotel side, it's some of the more traditional things like occupancy and RevPAR that are important measures for us. Casino, it's about gross win. The different business streams have different KPIs.
And within those indicators, how much have things improved over the past year, and how much scope is there to improve in the future?
Well, we've seen a steady improvement since we moved in. The business had been through, this is of course the Ricoh Arena business, had been through a tough couple of years, and was actually, to give it credit, on the up before we acquired it. The management team had done a great job of putting in new wins and new business. But we have seen pretty much every indicator move in the right direction since we've arrived. I think we've brought a new focus to the business. I think we've brought a new profile to the business. So all of a sudden an exhibition organiser can bring their exhibition to the home of Wasps. We offer everybody who buys a stand at an exhibition, they get 4 tickets to a Wasps game, and that adds as an extra incentive. And so we're able to use our brand to hopefully help grow the other parts of the business as well. And so far so good, but very early days.
And there were very clear aims for Wasps to become the biggest revenue generating club in Europe, the biggest club in Europe commercially and off the field. I assume that's still the aim. Where are you sort of along that path?
Well, actually, we never had any intention to be the biggest anything. That was just a consequence of the purchase of the arena. I think by revenue we're the largest rugby club in Europe and probably the largest rugby club in the world. But that doesn't really mean anything. What matters to us is firstly success as a club on the pitch, and secondly, the bottom line, not the top line in terms of the financials. It's all very well having the best revenue, but if you can't turn that into profit, it doesn't do you much good. So the sort of headlines that were made about us being the largest rugby club in Europe and the wealthiest rugby club in Europe are sort of misplaced, because that was never our intention. What we were trying to do is to secure the long-term commercial future of Wasps, and we identified the best way to do that was to put together these other revenue streams. If that happened to make us the largest or the 20th largest, it didn't matter. If you take the hotel in particular, we actually see there's a lot of synergies between ourselves, and of course Hilton as our partner are a major sponsor of rugby as well. But we see that as actually being quite symbiotic. The attraction of coming and staying at the home of Wasps in a hotel, and in fact we have 50 rooms that are pitch view rooms, so they convert into hospitality boxes on a match day. But during the week you can stay in that room and you have a partly floodlit view of the entire stadium. Those sell remarkably well. So there's a little bit of novelty value in that. But the two brands coming together is very important, and Hilton are helping us enormously by bringing their rugby world to us, by being a great partner for us as we grow. So we actually think there's a very close relationship between that leisure hospitality product, the hotel, and Wasps. And the casino piece, less of an obvious link, but clearly what it does do is it adds significantly to the matchday experience at the arena, or even for the experience for people coming to an exhibition during the week. We find a significant number of the guests to the casino are rugby fans, football fans on a Saturday who've been to a Coventry City game, and even people who are attending an exhibition or conference during the week. So they do work together, although there's a less obvious relationship between a casino and a rugby club.
Yeah. And I was quite surprised how successful you were in getting crowds immediately to support Wasps, or at least come and see their games straight away. How much of the novelty factor is wearing off, and how much work are you having to put into retaining that interest?
No, I think the novelty value does wear off, at least partially. We're seeing that in slightly lower average crowds so far this year. Not far off, but just a little bit lower. And what we're really having to go through is a journey. Last season, a lot of people in the Midlands area tried out a Wasps game. It was the new thing in town, it was the newest game in town, let's go and try that out. And a huge number of people did. What we're now working on is getting those people to come back and perhaps come to their second game or their third game, gradually go on that journey to being a fan. I think we've all done that. We've probably all been to our first rugby match or football match as a kid or whatever it was, trying it out. I'm going to go to a game. And then you start to become a fan and you start to follow the club and you go back again. We're having to do all that from scratch in Coventry. And that's a difficult task. And it's all about building the relationships with the community, whether that's through our community activities, building our database of people interested in rugby, and gradually they're coming back. And they're coming back to their second game and their third game. We sold over 4,000 season tickets to new fans in the Midlands who had never seen a Wasps game before for the start of this season. 4,000 is not a huge number by some other club standards, but it was a great start. And we were very excited about that because the previous season we had sold none. To get to 4,000 wasn't too bad. And then we retained a lot of season ticket holders from the southeast as well. So that's a journey. Yes, we of course enjoyed a little bit of a honeymoon period. We always knew we would. But some of the big games, we played Toulon this weekend. We had the highest attendance in Europe on the weekend. We, of course, are playing Leicester Tigers in the league later in the season. That game will sell out again. That local rivalry is very strong. Those sort of games will be very good for us. And we just need to work hard week by week, build the relationships with the fans, give them a great match day experience. So when they come home, not only have they seen a game of rugby, but they and their family have enjoyed a fantastic day out. And that's why we talk a lot about how we're an entertainment product, with the rugby game being the highlight. Yeah. But we entertain our supporters in many other ways, and that's one of the great things about the building.
Is there a difference between a West London fan and a Midlands fan?
Well, apart from the accent, no, I don't think there is much difference actually. What is interesting is the appetite that the Midlands fan have to understand the club, to understand the history of the club, and want to learn about what we're all about, and participate in that. The London-based fan, the Southeast fan, knew Wasps and its 150-year history before, and enjoyed that, and that legacy is very important. What we're trying to do now is to help the Coventry fan get up to speed, get them to understand that legacy. But no, they're just as loud, they're just as supportive, and they just have a slightly different accent.
Anything else from you?
I was just going to ask about the bond actually.
Yeah.
So that raised a lot of money. I mean, is that been in gone now, or is that something that you consider doing something similar in future if you need to raise more?
Well, if we needed to do more for some of the expansion projects we've got in mind, one of the options we could use to fund those is to go back to the bond market and do that again. Some of the money that we raised was used to refinance other loans on the balance sheet. So when we bought the Ricoh Arena, it owed Coventry City Council about £13 million. So part of the proceeds we used to repay that loan so that we didn't have that external debt any longer. So that was part of the use of the proceeds. Part of it is, for example, on the process of converting the hotel that I mentioned earlier. Part of it is, of course, for the development of our training centre, which is ongoing. So that type of thing, we're using it for our expansion. Yes, of course, we still have some left, but we're investing it in the things that we think are the building blocks for the future of the business. and particularly in that, things like the training centre, the hotel, assets that are for the long term.